What's up, football freaks and geeks? It is that time again. Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 6 of my weekly NFL pick show for the 2013-2014 NFL season. As you know by now, not doing the headlines anymore. I want to get you straight into how I did in week 5, getting into the predictions for week 6. So taking a look at the Week 5 results, we're going to start with the top two against the spread and over-under. Was another kind of unsuccessful week there, really. I only went 1-3 combined ATS and OU. Against the spread, I did get one right. I did tell you to take KC -1, kind of a pick'em game there. They put out a statement win last week. I also told you to take New England +1. Unfortunately, that did not work out as they really shit the bed there against Cincinnati. Now, over-under, of course, that means I missed them both. I told you to go over in San Diego, Oakland. The number was 45. They scored 44. Shoot me in the head there. And I told you to stay under on Philly and the Giants. Kind of against my better judgment. I thought it was going to go over, but then kind of thought it was going to go under. So it was kind of 50-50. I told you to go under. Coin didn't flip my way, so that one went over. So again, 0-2 over-under, 1-1 against the spread. Against the spread this year, I'm 5-5. Over-under, I got a losing record, and I'm man enough to admit that. I'm only 4-6 over-under, so right now sitting at 9-11 combined over-under and against the spread this season. And let's take a look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks from week 5, see how we did there. We'll start at the bottom with the bronze pick. This was probably the upset of the week in the NFL last week. Atlanta loses at home to the Jets. I told you to take Atlanta in that game. The Jets ended up beating them 30-28. Wow. Like, just wow. What else do you say? Matt Ryan leads a fourth quarter comeback from 13 points down. Hold the phone. Why are the Falcons 13 points down to the Jets in the fourth quarter? They're in the bottom part of the league in points scored. I believe they currently sit 22nd. This is not a team that Atlanta should be losing by 13 points to in the fourth quarter. Matt Ryan leads them on the fourth quarter comeback, gives them the lead with 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, only to lose it on a last-second field goal from Nick Folk. Even worse news for the Falcons, they may be without Julio Jones for quite some time, so it is not good in Falcon land. That costs me my bronze pick. Silver pick, I told you to take the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Houston Texans in San Francisco. Boy, did that work out. San Francisco puts on a dominant performance, beating Houston 34-3. The score itself is dominant. The actual way that it happened, maybe not necessarily, but can I just ask a question? Will the real Houston Texans please, for the love of God, stand up? The Texans just didn't show up in any facet of this game. Offensive, defensive, special teams. The whole team just did not show up. Matt Schaub throws 3 interceptions, now has 9 INTs on the year versus just 8 touchdowns thrown. Neither quarterback in this game topped 200 yards through the air, so nobody could really pass. But, I mean, San Francisco was just, this game was never in doubt. Now, yes, San Francisco's a very good home team, but Houston just did not show up. And for a team that I think most people would have said, this team's a lock to be at worst, probably 10-6 and a playoff team, for Houston to be playing the way they're playing right now, like I said earlier, it's getting to the point where it's hurting the fans' feelings. We go to the gold pick, which was head and shoulders the game of the week in the NFL this week. I told you to take Denver over Dallas. It was a bit of a, we're a little scary there for a little bit. Denver ends up pulling off the win 51-48. What a game. The quarterbacks in this game combined for 920 yards and 10 touchdowns, including Peyton Manning rushing for his first touchdown since 2008. This game was the 4th highest scoring game in NFL history. Just an offensive clinic from both sides, but also proof that both sides have big question marks on defense. And the platinum pick, I told you to take the Green Bay Packers over the Detroit Lions. That one, of course, worked out. Green Bay toppling Detroit 22-9. This was an extremely boring game. I'll just go out and say it right now. Both quarterbacks had very similar lines. Rodgers was 20 for 30 for 274 and a score. Matt Stafford was 25 of 40 for 262 and a score. You could almost say the MVP of this game was Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby kicking 5 field goals for Green Bay, including 3 from at least 40 yards, including a 50-yarder. So hopefully for Detroit, Megatron's back in the lineup here in Week 6. So I got my platinum, gold, and my silver pick this week. Missed out, unfortunately, on the bronze for the first time this season. Overall, in Week 5, gotta say it was a successful week. After 2 straight weeks of being sub 500, I pulled off 9-5 straight up in Week 5. On the season, currently sit at 46 and 31, sitting in the 72nd percentile on Yahoo. We go to the private pick'em. I currently have moved up from 3rd place into 2nd out of now 21. We keep picking up players, so it's not too late. Join that Pick'em League. Information's in the description below. So 2nd place out of 21, 441 out of 633 possible confidence points, a clip of 70%. In Week 5, I only managed to rake in 69 of 105 possible confidence points. That only a clip of 66%. Shout out to our Week 5 winner and new overall leader. For the first time this year, Jay Cutler for MVP is not the overall leader of the league. Too Easy had an equal record of mine. 9-5 was a little bit better with his confidence points. He managed to rake in 73 of 105 possible confidence points, a clip of 69% on the week. On the season, Too Easy, 50-27 with his picks, so 4 up, 4 down on me. 451 of 633 possible confidence points, a clip of 71%. This league is still extremely close, but a huge shout out to Too Easy for being our Week 5 winner and our new overall leader. All right, enough of the past. Let's look to the future. Week 6 predictions, and we're going to start with the top 2 against the spread and over-under. Start with over-under like we typically do. My favorite over-under play this week comes in the Denver versus Jacksonville game. Now, this number is 53. Denver could quite easily cover this 53 number by themselves. You look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville offensively is not a very good team. However, they did put up 20 points last week against St. Louis in St. Louis. They've shown that they can put up some points on the road. And again, Denver's defense has been nothing special this year. So they haven't exactly displayed to me that if it came right down to it, they could stop somebody. But honestly, I think this number's going to sail over 53. I think if you're putting your money on it, take over your 53 points in Denver versus Jacksonville. And my second favorite over-under play this week comes in the New York Jets versus Pittsburgh Steelers game. Now, the number there is a very manageable 41. As we mentioned, the Jets are in the bottom part of the league in points scored, as I would have to imagine. I believe Pittsburgh is as well. 41 is a very, very, very manageable number here, and Pittsburgh's run game has been coming along just a little bit, and Roethlisberger has the talent to be a top-tier quarterback. He hasn't been showing it this year, but he does have the talent. It is there. Geno Smith is playing better, of course, just put up 30 points on Atlanta last week. 41, a very, very manageable number here. So I'm telling you, in New York Jets versus Pittsburgh Steelers, take over the very manageable 41 points. Now let's take a look at against the spread. My top ATS against the spread play this week comes in the Minnesota versus Carolina game. Minnesota playing at home there. Currently the line sits at Minnesota -1. Carolina, again, kind of deceptive here. Minnesota, well known. They're a better team when they play at home. Minnesota did just sign Josh Freeman, so the quarterback situation there is going to be kind of interesting to see who gets the rock, who gets the opportunity to jump out ahead there in that quarterback battle. Of course, you got AP. And you've got playmakers on the Minnesota team, both on offense and on defense. While they're not exactly the greatest team since sliced bread, sorry, Gio, I think the fact that you're putting them at home here, a very, very manageable number of -1, essentially a pick'em game. I think Minnesota wins this game outright, so I'd be a fool if I didn't take Minnesota -1. That is my favorite ATS play this week. And my second favorite against the spread play this week comes in the Buffalo versus Cincinnati game. Buffalo is at home, but are 7.5-point dogs at home to Cincinnati. I understand that Cincinnati pulled off a huge win last week by beating the Patriots. I didn't think they were going to beat the Patriots. They came in as dogs there, but they beat the Patriots. They only gave up 6 points. However, they also only scored 13. So very, very low-scoring game there. I honestly just think 7.5 points is too much, especially considering that the game is in Buffalo. For whatever reason, I've just got a feeling here that 7.5 points is way too many. So in Buffalo versus Cincinnati, I'm going to tell you to take Buffalo plus 7.5. That is my second favorite ATS play this week. So if there is anyone up there listening, if you guys could throw me like a 3-1, maybe 4-0, even though that's getting kind of greedy. If you could throw me one of those like real good weeks so everybody watching me on YouTube doesn't start realizing I really suck at this, that'd be great. Now let's take a look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for week 6 in the NFL. Going to start with the bronze pick. I am 4-1 on the bronze pick this year. Of course, missed out on it last week. For the bronze pick, I'm taking the Houston Texans playing at home against the St. Louis Rams. Now, you might be saying, Justin, are you out of your mind? St. Louis won their game last week. Houston didn't show up. You just got done ripping Houston a new butthole for 2 minutes about not showing up against San Francisco. Texans are playing at home. St. Louis, while they did win their game at home and they did put up 34 points, they gave up 20 points to Jacksonville. San Francisco, fantastic home team. If the Texans can't win this game, and this is kind of the same logic that I used for the Atlanta game last week, we saw how that worked out. But if they cannot win this game, they being Houston, I don't see who they beat. I don't see who else they beat going forward aside from maybe Jacksonville. This is no disrespect to St. Louis whatsoever. I like St. Louis. I like the Rams. I'm not a Rams fan, but I like the Rams. This is a team in Houston that everybody saw as a playoff team. If this is a playoff team, or if this should be considered a playoff team, you cannot lose to St. Louis at home. If the Texans haven't completely fallen apart, this is a game that they win. If Houston loses this game, then start the feeding frenzy. Start trading people off, start the rebuilding process, because at this point, you're kind of SOL. I'm just going to go with the gut, and I'm going to say that Houston gets back a measure of respect here from completely shitting the bed against San Francisco. So I'm going to take Houston to beat St. Louis at home. Going to go out on a little bit of a limb, but that is my bronze pick. My silver pick, the Chicago Bears playing at home to the lowly New York Giants. Am I picking on the Giants? You bet I am. Yeah, Chicago doesn't look like the same team right now that they looked at the beginning of the season. But that being said, the Giants are the Giants, and what are they doing right now? Seems like the biggest concern in New York is whether or not they're going to fire Tom Coughlin. I don't think Tom Coughlin is the problem with this team. It's in Chicago. Chicago plays better in Chicago. It's just like home teams just play better at home. We should just sort of settle that right now. Some are elite at home, but they just tend to play better at home. The game might be close, but I'm going to take the Bears. Silver pick, I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to beat the New York Giants, and I suggest you do the same. Now, just like I'm 4-1 on the season with my bronze pick and with my silver pick, I'm also 4-1 this year on my gold pick. And the gold pick in week 6 is the Seattle Seahawks playing at home to the Tennessee Titans. I would not be touching this game if the game was not in Seattle. Now, the Legion didn't look the greatest against Indy last week. Indy put up a decent amount of points on them. Of course, I called the Colts upsetting the Seahawks last week. I don't think they're going to be able to pass the ball on Seattle, and if they can't, that leaves it to CJ2K. And I don't know. I'm not sold on Chris Johnson in the run game. So I think they're going to be able to stuff 8 in the box, stop Chris Johnson, and Tennessee's going to have nowhere to go. Tennessee's played well this year. I think they're slightly fraudulent, but I think they've played well. They don't beat Seattle in Seattle. So for the gold pick, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Tennessee Titans at home. Suggest you do the same. And the platinum pick, where I'm still undefeated this year at 5-0, the Kansas City Chiefs playing at home to the Oakland Raiders. Now, Oakland put up a pretty good showing there against San Diego. Unfortunately, again, didn't get to that over 45, so that didn't work out for me. I'm so firmly on the Chiefs bandwagon right now, at least I can admit it, but I'm so firmly on the Chiefs bandwagon, it's not even funny. So you take the Chiefs, you put them back home. Andy Reid's doing great things with this team. Defensively, they're just playing great football. Offensively, it's all coming together. It's a matter of reliability, and I don't see that reliability factor coming out of Oakland. I do see it so far coming out of Kansas City. So for me, this is a no-brainer. For the Platinum pick, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs at home to beat the Oakland Raiders. I'm riding the home teams this week for the Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze. Platinum pick, Kansas City beats Oakland. Now let's take a look at the rest of my picks for Week 6 in the National Football League. We got a real good thing going here. Let's see if we can keep it up. That's the Week 6 show for you folks. Comment, hate, and love. You know where to put them. Comment section below. Shout out to everybody else that's doing these YouTube videos. All these people are great at what they do. Everybody brings a little bit something different to the table. But I want to thank you very much for supporting our passion, coming out here, giving us the views, giving us the thumbs up, giving us the subscriptions. It keeps us doing what we're doing. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch both mine and everybody else's videos. That's the Week 6 show. I'm Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Check it out next week for Week 7.